Hey, it's Mr. Wagner here. A lot of students are having some trouble with the June 3rd and 4th work. I wanted to go through that. So on the screen, you watch the video, and then when it comes to doing the chart, a lot of people are having trouble. And I wanted to show that so that this is a video about how to do this lesson. Where is it? Right there. But I put the same video up there twice. Not my best move. But here's the chart, right? I'm looking here. So I will help do the first one. I did in my other video too. Obviously, that's Japan. Nuclear bomb, American action. We used it on Japan at the end of World War II. It blew up two places called Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's right here in the information cities for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The effect worldwide, the arms race is going on between the USSR and USA. Anyone else who can make a nuke can talk on their level. So the Russian action, well, what did the Russians try to do? USSR, oh God, is what they used to be called, works fast to make a nuclear bomb so they can negotiate or counteract American democracy. All right. The division of Germany, where do I look for that? Okay, let me go into the slide shares. I think this one's pretty good for the division of Germany. One of these links students say they're having trouble with. If you're having trouble, you can always just go Cold War. Like if I do a Google image, or not Google search Cold War slide share, these guys come up. So if I click on the first one, it's this one, right? If I click on that one, that's the other one right there. So this is one, Origins of the Cold War. The other one is that one right there. And I click on that and I can go to it. So if you're having trouble getting to one, if you can just Google search the one that you can get to, find it, or usually it comes up on the side here. That is how you can find the slideshows. But if my next one is Germany being split up, I can go through all right, not the Truman Doctrine, division of Germany. So then I read this. I think the occupation zone borders in Germany as of 21st of February 1947, valid up to 22nd of April 1949. At the end of World War II, the Allied powers conquered Germany into four zones, each occupied by either the United States, Great Britain, France, or the Soviet Union, as agreed at the Potsdam Conference. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to add the word Potsdam Conference too. It said four parts, one each controlled by Germany, no, try that again. USSR, USA, England, France. West Germany, the effect worldwide, West Germany becomes democratic. East Germany is communist. How do I know that? Well, I go back to the slideshow, right? It starts going into the vocab words. So then I go, oh, I can't find it. I go back to the other slideshow, and it talks about the division of Germany. So I got to go through that slideshow. All right, Allies divided Germany into four sections. Western Allies wanted to reunite Germany, but Soviets disagreed. Soviet section became East Germany, and the reunited sections became West Germany. Okay? This capital cities even divided. How did that become a problem? So the explain part for Russia, USSR blocked aid to East Berlin, the capital of Germany. That is mentioned a lot. It's mentioned at the bottom of the slide here. If I were to make this large, ooh, of course it's in the bottom of the slide. Great. That's a problem. Okay, there it is. Oh, how did that happen? How did I do that? Nah, scary. I don't know how I did that. 4 zones with allies watching them. East Germany becomes communist. West Germany becomes democratic. So that's where I find the answers that help me fill out that one about the division of Germany. I shrink this back down. Not my best work right there. The chart continued. The Berlin Airlift. Nope. June 1948, the Soviets blockaded all land and water traffic into Western Berlin, hoping to make Britain. So, this information helps me find out the Berlin Airlift. Okay, the Berlin Airlift. System of carrying supplies into West Berlin by plane. Day and night, British and American pilots flew in tons of food, fuel, and raw materials. 11 months, Germany became 2 countries. So basically, it's what makes Germany become 2 countries. So then I go in, shrink that down, Berlin Airlift. With England, we send in airdrops for 11 months to help starving people in East Berlin. Because if you're communist controlled, that means you have very little and you have to share it all equally. That's the whole idea behind communism, right? Cold War gets more serious and the Iron Curtain forms, and Germany divided into 2 halves. Russian action, they blockaded all air, land, and was there any water routes? Getting to East Berlin. It lasted 11 months as a fun fact. Right? In 11 months it lasted until Germany and Berlin were officially divided into 2. The next one is where people start to lose it, or it falls off the rails, right? You got the Truman Doctrine. Oh, I remember that. The Truman Doctrine is in this slideshow. Harry S. Truman was the 33rd president. He did not like Soviet aggression. Help war affected Europe to resist social threats. Shrink that back down. So what did the Truman Doctrine do? President Truman pledges to aid countries against the spread of communism. It's like middle school stuff. It's like, why don't you just say we're basically going to fight any time Russia or USSR tries to make anybody communist or flex its muscles past Poland? Basically the same thing. Why didn't they just say that? I don't know. You had to say it around like the long route. Countries take sides. Russian action. The Russian action. What did the Russian or Soviets do? They did the Warsaw Pact, right? And swear to protect each other. The Truman Doctrine basically led to NATO forming. Marshall Plan, $13 billion. I saw that. It's the next slide in this slideshow. The Marshall Plan. Money, if you're not communist, then you can ask for aid. So it helped Western and Southern Europe to rebuild after the war. Mainly it helped Greece and Turkey, but a couple others. Oh, what a pet peeve. I do not like when people don't capitalize. I'm sorry I just did that. The countries take sides. You either go for the aid or you don't go for it. I can put the same thing as I did for the last one, so I can just put, that means the same as Warsaw Pact, team of, so, or you can just copy and paste this, right? Trying here. And I can really put this too. It's called polarization, right? I think that's all you have to do for the first day. Let's check the directions. Day 1. Oh, you do them all. All right, let's go. Come on. Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay. That's actually started by Russia. Okay. Russia has nukes on submarines and on island of Cuba. These nukes, if fired, could hit Washington, D.C. Jeepers scoop. What does the United States do? They try to take over and failed attempt at the Bay of Pigs. Invasion, which is on like Black Ops 1 if you ever played it. Call of Duty. Where is that? That is in the slideshow. This one. I'm not making this up. The slideshow really has all the answers in it. 58, Fidel Castro won a revolution and took control of Cuba and declared it communist. The U.S. opened its borders to many Cubans and started an embargo against many communist products. Kennedy sent 1,500 Cuban exiles to the Bay of Pigs in Cuba to get them to incite a coup against Castro. So we tried to get a coup because we know communists will be friends with communists. How do we know communists will be friends with communists? Because all the communism around the world, right? All the communism, I'm like falling down. My back's killing me, so I'm going to get, there we go. So Russian communists they kind of learned, they kind of taught China how to be communist, I should say, but they like don't like help each other because you don't barely have enough money to like help do your own communism, because communism is really tough to do unless you have a really rich country. Um, Not that I'm trying to say the United States should be communist, but if we would be more like the country that could be communist because we have a successful capitalism. You have to like break the capitalism into pieces and become communist. Not that I'm inciting rebellion or anything, but I'm just saying. So with these poor countries that try this, like Cuba, no offense if you're Cuban, but it's like now it's becoming like a tourist destination. But like it's kind of poor and like makes certain products that you can sell to the American market, but not the bomb.com. And then you can't have communism because then everybody's just going to be dirt poor. So try to take over and failed attempt at Bay of Pigs invasion because we were worried about Castro. Because if they're communists, then they might let the other communists, Russia, keep their nukes there and be able to fire them. Countries take sides and prepare nuclear underground shelters. Russia has nukes and submarines and on the island of Cuba, supposedly. These nukes, if fired, could hit Washington, D.C. That's the closest we ever came to like game over. Unless you mutate, you're basically all blown up or can't breathe right. Fun. NATO. Again, the answer to NATO, I can copy and paste. Warsaw Pact. I totally didn't copy that. It looked like it did, but it didn't. Copy and paste. Da-da-da. I can paste that there. That's what Russia did, or USSR, whatever you want to call it. NATO. What's NATO? I saw it on here. I didn't even talk about the Afghan War. NATO, there it is. NATO versus the Warsaw Pact. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. 1949. The United States and 11 other nations. 1949. 1949. U.S. and 11 other nations form to get each other's back. If it's commies, which is communist, versus capitalist democracies. Fun fact is tougher on this one. Created a lot of drama at the Olympics with like judges and controversies, and then the 1980 Olympic hockey team that won, that beat the Russians. Big deal. The space race was actually another one started by Russians. They launched Sputnik, which is an answer on your final test, which I spelled wrong. First unmanned satellite. I think it's in like 57. 1957. You could look that up in the same slideshow. And then the U.S. answer was, we not only are we going to put a satellite, but we got to go big or go home. So by 1969, land the first man on the moon. To one-up them, the USSR we both spend a lot of money spending on space race and arms race. Eventually destroys the Soviet economy, which helps the United States to win. Well, not win, but like seem like it wins. But then, depending on what you believe the Russians are doing lately with our elections or being friends with certain people in the government, I don't think the Russians gave up just yet. So the space race is the last one. So I hope I walked you through this pretty well and helped you. It's a lot of deductive reasoning, just thinking about it. And by reading this slideshow and then going a little bit further. So how did I find out the one about the space race? It's like right after this. arms race was nukes and getting weapons to countries to help them not be taken over by the other. And then there's the nukes. Space race. Sputnik was 1957. Not sure how you control a satellite in 1957 because the technology then was kakashka, as they say in Russia. But, oh well. But hopefully this helped. If you have any questions after this, you still have questions, then email me. Obviously, the due dates can be a little later. Next week, you'll have just 6-8 through 6-11 is like all the same lesson. You have to do an appetizer and a main course. You can do more than that in order to get extra credit to help that grade. And there's like a bunch of items you can pick in a slideshow. So you basically present the slideshow to yourself and that I made, and then you can click on it to get the different assignments and get real creative and put your answers right in the slideshow and hit it in. That's like a formative, I believe. And then the final thing of all is a summative, which you can take anytime you want now. It's a quizzes, but I haven't made it live yet because there's only like a window of a week I can have it live. But I'm gonna make it live, and then if I need to, I'll extend it to the end of, the 17th if I have to. So you probably see that quiz is assignment go up soon because I know some students will be working ahead. So you can basically finish all my work early and be done by like next Wednesday, all the social studies work if you want to. Yeah. All right, Wagner out.